February 21st, 2022. You're listening to Oblast with Don and Kevin. I'm Kevin.
That makes me Don.
And we're back here again. I just got done posting the most latest shows. I did get the Donnie Diary up there finally, so that's out there. And for all of our Patreon supporters, you can listen to Donnie's latest episode.
An interesting story.
And so let me tell you what happened with me last week. So the follow-up on our last episode, I was talking about having heart palpitations. So, I stopped taking the medicine, the lisinopril that I was taking, my blood pressure medication, to see if the palpitations would stop happening. And so I did. And I had told my doctor, hey, I'm not sure if I should take half a dose or just not take it at all. And they're like, well, why don't you come in on Tuesday and of this past week, and we'll get a good blood pressure reading on you. You can meet with the nurse, and then we can talk about medication. And I'm like, all right. So that was the plan. But then I was like, I don't think I can not take my blood pressure medication for like 5 days, between the time I called and when it was coming, because my blood pressure can get kind of high. And so, and the danger is, like a normal person, let me just say, if you don't know all this stuff is blood pressure type of thing, a normal person, your blood pressure is going to kind of swing around, right? So like you might have an average, like a normal blood pressure reading might be like something under 120 over, below 80. So like say 120 over 75, right? That doesn't be like an average blood pressure reading. But let's say you went for a run, or you just had sex, or, you were lifting things up the stairs. Your body's going to raise your blood pressure, right? If you have some anxiety, your body's going to raise your blood pressure. But your body also will, like, if you're normal and you're healthy, your body will also reduce your blood pressure so it doesn't get too high, right? But as we know, when we talked previously on the show, like, some years ago, I had runaway blood pressure. It just kept going up and up and up. So I'm concerned, like if I stop my blood pressure medication, that I could have runaway blood pressure again, and it'll just keep going up and up and up. So, I wrote my doctor, and well, I didn't yet. So I said, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take half a dose. Let's experiment. Let's take half the dose, right, of my blood pressure medication. I'll cut the pill in half, and let's see how that goes. And so I did that, right? And the first day, because let me just also point out, when I didn't take the medication, I still had heart palpitations, but they were a lot less, right? So they weren't as crazy as they'd had been. They were much less. So I said, okay, I'm going to take a half one. So the first day, I have the heart palpitations, but they're not too bad. Mostly get kind of crazy when I'm laying down, right? And also, I forgot to mention this part. They had given me the Holter monitor, which is like a 24-hour EKG that you wear. I wear it for 48 hours, basically. So you got all those little stickers on your chest with the wires and everything connected to this little device that you wear. And like I put it in my hoodie pocket, and you just wear that for 48 hours straight. I couldn't shower or anything. And that's just recording everything that's going on. So it's like, okay, so. But I hadn't got that. I haven't got that yet. Let me just say, like, I had taken the let me think about that for a second. Hold on. I'm trying to think about how this all went down the week earlier. No. So like, so I had taken the half dose, and then, I had experienced some chest discomfort. Right. And I don't want to make it sound like chest pain. I think it was more from like I had lifted some heavy ass groceries with one arm, so the other arm could open the door and stuff like that. And I think I just strained my back and pec muscle, right? Because
Right.
I'm just a wimp. I don't know. But it seemed like when I, was laying down or whatever, like it was just really more amplified when I was on this medication. Like it just fucking really bothered me. So I said, okay, listen, I know chest pain can be a thing, with this kind of thing. I wanted to play it safe. So I called my doctor. Well, I wrote my doctor a message and then they had me talk to the nurse on call. So I talked to her on the phone, and then she said I should go to the ER, get checked out. Right now, at this point, when I'm going to the ER, I did not take my medicine that day, right? Because I had this terrible night, you know what I mean, with it.
Right.
So I wasn't going to start taking it again because it seems like it got worse. The first night it wasn't too bad. The second night it was a lot worse. I had this chest discomfort. My heart was doing flips in my chest, etc. So I go to the ER. I know that it's a little bit elevated because my heart rate's a little bit elevated. My blood pressure is going to be a little bit elevated, obviously, because I'm not on the medication. And I'm going to the ER. I don't know what they're going to find. You know what I mean? They could have been you had a heart attack, you got a clot, whatever. So I go in. They give me an EKG first thing in the door, and he said that looks good, right? He says the doctor will talk to you about it, but he goes that looks like a normal sinus rhythm. It's a little fast. You got some double beats on there, but it looks normal. And I'm like, yeah. I said, I think it's being caused by my medication, but I was having these chest discomfort, so my doctor wanted me to come in and get checked out. And they're like, all right. So then I end up in the bed and they're going to do all the labs. So they check for the clots and the heart attack and they do the x-ray looking for any kind of weirdness. And, they come back and they're just like, you're fine, and it's like, yeah, okay. I mean, I kind of know because I'm not taking this medication right now. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty sure it's this medication. And listen, I just want to also point out, because everybody knows I can be a little bit anxious sometimes. I've been taking this particular medication for 10 years. It's not like it's new and I suddenly was like, oh my God, this is causing the problem. This whole thing I'm dealing with is like, it's a new thing. It's going on, and it's not like I'm just causing it to happen. It's like a normal palpitation might be like you're sitting around and you talked about this last time and then you might feel your heart go kablunk,
Right.
or it might start to beat faster, ba-bump, 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 ba-bump,
Right.
ba-bump, right? But mine is going like kablunk, bunk, bunk, kablunk, bunk, 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 kablunk, kabunk, bunk, bunk, kablunk, kabunk, kabunk. I mean, it's crazy like that, right? It's like a monkey just banging on drums, all over the place. And it's not occasional. It especially happens if I'm laying on either side. If I lay on my back, I'll get them, but it's not too bad on my back. But if I turn to my right side or I'm to my left side, it's just going crazy, right? And if I lay straight on my chest, forget about it. So, so anyway, at the ER though, I didn't take the medication. Everything looks fine. So that's when I was like, all right, well, I'm going to see my doctor on Tuesday. But I got to take this medication, over the weekend. So I wore that Holter monitor and I took the medication. So I got the Holter monitor on a Friday and I took the pill then. So all the symptoms would be there. So it could be recorded. Right. And then on Saturday, I took the pill again on Saturday so that it could be there. But on Sunday, I skipped it. So because I had to return it. Well, I couldn't return on Sunday. They weren't there or whatever on Sunday, but I had to stop wearing it in the afternoon on Sunday. So I didn't take the pill for that whole day up until that afternoon. So hopefully they can see a difference there. You know what I mean?
Right.
They can see pre and post. Now, of course I didn't sleep, without taking the pills where it's a lot more active, but still I think they should probably notice a difference because I certainly feel a difference. So, yeah. Okay. So I'm all right, but I haven't drank caffeine in a while and I feel like, ugh. And I went and saw Spider-Man on Saturday, and we'll talk about that shortly. And, last week Saturday. And my I feel like when my heart was like racing inside the movie theater, right? It's just it's all up and down because it kind of you're doing in the recliner chair kind of thing. And you're just chilling out. But I feel like my brain is like, I feel like the arteries in my brain are like moving around or something. Like I'm getting worried I'm going to stroke out. And I think that might partially be because I haven't had caffeine in over 2 weeks. I mean, you're a soda drinker like I am. Like I've been drinking, caffeine since, Manchu Walker earlier. You know what I mean? For like 30 years, I've been drinking caffeine. So my body might be going through a little withdrawal on that, and that might be causing some of the brain stuff that's going on, which is fine, but it's not causing the palps. I mean, just so we know, I stopped the caffeine because of the palps, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So I go see my doctor on Tuesday. She doesn't even see me. She just has the nurse practitioner see me, whatever. And this woman's in training. So I explained to her everything that's going on. She checks my heart, listens to it. Of course, I'm not on the medication. Sounds fine. You know what I mean? And it's the middle of the day. It's fine, But I explained it. I said, look, I stopped taking the medication. Then I took the medication and it started up again. So I stopped taking the medication. And, not quite sure what's going on there, but I seem to have it more pronounced at night, which is kind of normal for normal palpitations. It's normal to have them at night, but I'm trying to point out like this isn't normal. You know what I mean? Like this is I'm like hey, my friend's a nurse. She checks me out. She says I got a heart arrhythmia. Like she's checking my pulse, and she's feeling it and stuff. So anyway, she gets up, she goes and talks to my doctor. My doctor, probably looking at the results from the ER visit, which showed nothing wrong, right? Me going into the doctor's office, not on the medication, showing nothing's wrong. She's just thinking it's all in my head, I'm sure. And she's like, she comes back and she goes, she says that these kinds of symptoms shouldn't happen from the medication you're on. So she's thinking maybe you should just try restarting this medication again. And I said, look, I get it. But the thing is I've already done that, right? I stopped it. I started it. Shit went crazy. I stopped it again. So we got to go on something else. So it's interesting. Like what I'm on is lisinopril is what they call an ACE inhibitor, and it blocks this enzyme or something that causes it so like your arteries are more relaxed, right? And they have this other drug that's really similar. They're called ARBs, and like an ARB inhibitor, and it basically works under the same concept, but it works it has a different method of action. Like it blocks the same enzyme, but it does it like in a different way. Mm-hmm. So I was a little nervous about taking that because I'm like, it's so similar. And, and if this is my problem, I'm just going to, I'm going to have this issue again. Plus there's also this thing called like edema that can happen where like your throat closes up and your lips puff up and your tongue swells and shit. That can happen anytime when you're on one of these inhibitors. It's really rare. It mostly happens to black people and more often women than men. And it's only like 0.01% or something that people get it. But I'm having these symptoms, these crazy symptoms, and I'm thinking, shit, maybe I'm having some sort of, allergic reaction, even though I've never really been allergic to anything. So, they put me on this ARB. They tell me to take, 50 milligrams for 3 days. I did it for 4 because I'm not going to waste half a pill, right? You cut the pill in half.
You're right.
Yeah, only take 3. What do you do with the other half?
Just throw this out.
Right? It's stupid. So I did it for 4, and then I took the 100. I didn't have any problems. My blood pressure's maintained. I'm not having the symptoms, except when I lay down and I turn to my left or my right, I'm having crazy, but it's not as bad. It's basically just crazy at night or post-workout. So my Holter monitor results, they said can take 2 to 3 weeks. That's how long it takes to write the reports for these things. So I'm just, because I could go to cardiology now, but they're going to look at my ER results and my doctor visit results. Plus I'll go in there now during the day and it'll be fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I, They'll look to see that I have, I'm on some psychiatric medication in my past, and they'll just be like, this guy's just got, Joe Huskett disease. He's a hypochondriac or something. And I'll be like, no, but I mean, you can sit there and argue with them, but if it's like taking your car in when it's not making the noise. You know what I mean?
Right.
You take your car in, you're like, it's making this noise all the time. And the guy drives it, he's like, I don't hear the noise. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you're like, fuck, like, what am I going to do? So I'm thinking, like, when the Halter monitor results come back, I'm hopeful that they'll show that this is going on, and then maybe they'll just look at them and they'll be like, this is all right. This is kind of normal for normal palpitations. I don't think so, though. I think it's going to look a lot crazier than that. And they're going to probably be like, you got to go into the cardio and get a full workup done to try to figure out what's going on. The weird thing is that at this moment in my life, other than being a little bit older, I'm probably healthier now than I've been in a long time. Like, I'm down to 220. My cholesterol is lower than it's ever been. It's like my bad cholesterol is at like 77, which is like normal is under 100. So like that's normal. And then my good cholesterol sucks. So my ratio is a little off, but it's not bad. And like, all my vitals, because they took them all at the ER, they're all great, right? I got no issues with anything else. Everything's normal across the board. All my chemicals and everything in my system. I exercise every day. I get 2.5 miles of walk, And when I had my original ER visit, 10 years ago, I was like 260 pounds. And, now I'm 220. I've lost like 40 pounds in that amount of time. So it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's like, why is this going on now? Like, what the fuck is going on? So it's like, it's possible I've got like a clogged artery kind of thing, but I don't have any of the other symptoms. I don't have the pain. I don't have the shortness of breath. I'm not losing vision. I'm not dizzy. Everything else is fine. It's just that my heart's just acting a fool for some reason. I blame COVID.
Yeah.
I think it's COVID. No, I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, that's where I'm at. And, I've got a will. And I've put it out on my dresser, and I've put like some other information on my dresser and let certain people know where to find it in case I die in the middle of the night, because I don't know what the fuck's going on. You know what I mean? It's kind of scary. My dad, he stroked out at 57, right? He smoked. He was in worse physical condition that I'm in, and he had high blood pressure, and years of difference in medications and science and everything as well. So, he I don't think I'm on the same road he is, but you never know. It could be genetic. Like his side of the family they all just died,
Right.
So it's like, I don't know what's going on. I got to be a little bit concerned. But anyway, that's kind of where I'm at. If I end up dead, Donnie, I love you. You can carry on with Blog Talk Radio or something without me. Because
You're the best.
That's all that's going to be. Or you can join Bailey on his Boondoggle podcast. Yes, everybody out there listening, we had our reunion show, I guess you could say. It was kind of ridiculous, but a friend of ours runs a podcast called Today's Boondoggle. I think that's what it's called. And Bill Bailey, who we talked to many times on this show, runs that podcast. I don't listen to his podcast. I don't think any of us do.
I don't.
Bill is really political, and so he is really into conspiracies and right-wing politics. And so, whatever. But he's somebody we've known since we were kids, and he wanted to. He wanted all the Midwest Wastelands, and he wanted to re-release them on his podcast feed once a week for his listeners. And then he said, hey, I'd like to get all of you guys on the show in order to talk about the history of Midwest Wasteland. So, I let Bill organize it because I was like, I'm not going to try to do it. I will have a heart attack trying to get everybody on at a good time. But it just worked out that, Bill was able to get me, Brian, Larry, and Don on a Sunday around noon. And we did like an hour show. And I'm going to put a link on the Facebook page for Video Game News and Oblast so that people can find it. It was all right. It was fun, I guess.
It was a good time.
Yeah. But if you want to listen to other stuff on his podcast, just know that I don't know what's on there.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not saying yay or nay, but
Don't cancel us because we sent you that way.
Right. Like I don't know, but I'll at least
he's just posting our shows or the shows, and that's the only connection we have with it is we've recorded these and he's putting up somewhere.
Right. Exactly. But if you want to hear the four of us talking, we'll do that. If you want to hear it on here and you don't want to listen to another podcast or whatever, well, I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
Let's just say
Kevin will be dead.
I might be dead. Certainly have some fucking health problems that are. Why me though? Too like why not Mole? You know what I mean? Or
yeah, you look at it and you say to yourself like, how are all these people avoiding all this stuff? Right. And it's just like you said, it's like my brother, my one brother, his buddy passed, whatever it was. I was still living in Columbus. He died out of nowhere. He was one of those things, you know what I mean? And he was like early 50s. He was like 51, 50, something like that. You know what I mean? He was 49. He was like in that area. And it was one of those things when they found him, he never went to the doctors. But when they found him, he had his insurance card and the address book open to his doctor.
Oh, wow.
And he died calling his doctor to set up an appointment or whatever.
Oh, geez.
And like you said, it was like sometimes like I'll get that
right
or whatever, and it's just a little weird. And you're just like, oh man, I fucked up. I knew I should have gone. I knew I should have done this. I knew I should. You know what I mean? I started thinking like that. I was like, I told you to make that appointment, you jerk. And it's like nothing happens. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Go make that appointment. Like, yeah,
right.
Go do something about it. So, but it just makes you wonder. It's just like Mole drank bleach. You know what I mean? Like,
right. He's got brain fluid leaking out of his ears, I guess.
Dave Bates is still alive.
Right. Oz. I mean, think about how much liquor Oz has drank in his life. Like, it's an insane amount of liquor. And that dude is still just going. I don't know what his health situation is like. Larry is a mess. He does have a stent. He might have had a heart attack. But he's still eating cheese stuffed meatloaf, bacon wrapped cheese stuffed meatloaf and going to the bar. I don't know. I'm hoping this is just some fucking temporary shit with me. You know what I mean? Because I really feel like it shouldn't be happening yet. But fuck, man, I don't know what it is. It's really weird. But I'll fill everybody in, hopefully, when I get these results back, and I'll let everybody know what's going on, so you can all be in tune with this whole fucking thing. I don't want an MRI. I'm fine with everything else, but if they want me to get an MRI, I'll probably try to fucking do it. But I really have claustrophobia, and that is like being put inside a coffin. It sucks. So I don't know. Anything else I can do, but I have to talk to my doctor about it. But checking a heart out with an MRI wouldn't make a lot of sense anyway, because it's moving. It would be more like checking my skull or something for problems or some other part of my body. And they can do a lot of that with CAT scans and ultrasounds, which are fine. I mean, CAT scans aren't great, but they're better than 40 minutes in that tube. I just can't handle it.
I don't mind the tube.
It's because, as a kid, my brother used to hold me down, you know what I mean? And then torture me. So when you have to lay still and not move, it's like, it's just primal. I can't fucking deal with it. But I'll try.
I just go to sleep.
I'll take a fucking drug or something and try.
I fell asleep in that giant machine, the conk with the clicking noise, with the click, whatever the MRI thing. Yeah. I fell asleep in there.
I mean, that's cool if you can do it, man.
I'm lucky.
It's rough for me. I can't do it.
That's what I'm saying is like, I'm lucky. I'm one of the lucky ones. I could.
But I have this thing now with my anxiety where I know my anxiety won't kill me. Like before, I wasn't so sure because I didn't really understand anxiety very well. I just felt like it's going to keep boiling and get worse, and I'm going to go insane. And there's something in my fucking head, and my vitals are going to blow out or something. But it's like I've learned enough about it now that like it sucks when it happens, but I can I can handle it. You know what I mean? Like I'll just work through it. You know, it's not going to fuck me up. It's not going to kill me. It's just there, and I'm just going to have to like accept it and move on. And that actually does cause it to pretty much go away. But under incredible stressful situations like that, I'm not sure, but I don't know. I'll work it out. Whatever. Anyway, let's move on.
He'll work it out, folks. Just relax.
Since I did most of the talking, why don't you talk about Spider-Man first, and then I'll comment after.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. So last week because I originally I called Holiday and was like, hey, we should go see Spider-Man during the day when there's nobody there and stuff. Last Tuesday, my girlfriend got called into work, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go see Spider-Man. So I went, and it's, you know what? Are we, I don't know how, should I worry about describing this to everybody, or should we just say spoilers?
I think don't mention the
certain things.
Yeah, let's not. It's too new, so let's not spoil it. But
stuff you've seen in the. I can talk about stuff that you've seen in the.
Yeah.
How about that?
That sounds fair.
Okay, up to the bridge attack, right?
Yeah,
the octopus guy. Okay. It was. Well, see, this is gonna make it hard to talk about because I can't really say anything because it's like all the stupid stuff they did. Up until that point, after that, it just got a little. It was just like, what happened? It just switched. It just changed the mood, the tempo. I don't know what it was, but I was totally into it. I was a little confused because it's just there's so much stuff. It's a 2.5 hour movie, and it was good. But like, I walked out of Avengers and I was like, that was awesome. I walked out of Guardians of the Galaxy thinking that it wasn't going to be that great, and I walked out of that going, that was awesome. You know what I mean? It's like, usually these movies I walk out of and I'm like, okay, that was cool. You know, so it's like I can handle the differences that they make. It's like, whatever. This one I walked out of and I was just kind of like, it didn't really seem, you know, it didn't really seem that bad. Like, it wasn't really. I can't really say anything.
Well,
I don't know.
There's villains, multiple villains, right? And Spider-Man has to face off against multiple villains, and it's a 2.5 hour film. And I don't like, and it's not Tom Holland's fault, but I don't like it's Disney's version of Spider-Man. They didn't own the other Spider-Mans. It was Sony's, right? Disney's version of Spider-Man, I don't like because it's not Spider-Man. I know they're trying to make it like he's a younger kid and stuff, but first of all, that's not how the Spider-Man story even goes, right? Like, he's like a college student in a laboratory or something, right? And then he gets bit. He's not freaking like.
Well, no, he was in high school.
Was he in high school? In a lab with radiation and stuff?
Well, the spider was radioactive.
I know, but there's that picture of him like in the lab coat with the vials pouring it and stuff. And this.
See, back in the '60s, in elementary school or in high schools and stuff,
it was a lot more serious back then.
They did stuff like that. You know what I mean?
So. All right,
they don't do that anymore.
But anyway, fine. Even if he is of that age and he somehow becomes a reporter as a teenager, like. The dude is a smartass. Spider-Man is a smartass, and he has a sense of, he has obviously spider sense, but Spider-Man generally isn't afraid of anything, really. Like, he's mostly just like if he's afraid for MJ, right? Like, he's afraid something's going to happen to her, right? But he himself, he's very cocky, you know what I mean? Like, he manages to get out of everything eventually, and even when he is tied up and stuff, he's still a smartass. Where Tom Holland or Disney's version of Spider-Man is, an apologetic kid who, is just amazed by things. You know what I mean? He's not a smartass. He's polite and, is just a confused kid. And I don't like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the same character. It's a different dude wearing a spider suit. So that has always kind of turned me off with his character. And it's fine though, it's his family type story. He's with his friends. They're helping him, they're working together as a team, and all that stuff, whatever. But it kind of like, you never felt watching this movie that anybody was ever in any real danger. You've got multiple villains who, in previous films, many of the villains that may or may not be these villains were a lot more scary, right? I would say but here they. I mean, that Spider-Man's going to win. You know what I mean? And you know that he's going to there's some things that happen, but you know that he's going to win the day at the end. And it's just kind of like you're just sitting there waiting for it. You're like, all right, go ahead and battle. I know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? I know how this is going to turn out, basically. So just go ahead and do your thing. And yeah, there's some twists in it if you weren't aware ahead of time. But even those, a lot of it was too long again. It's 2.5 hours, and there's parts in there that, they could have really cut out of it because it wasn't necessary. There was just too much that was just, pointless, really. Some of it was just really dumb. And I don't know. So, look, a lot of people like this movie. It's got great reviews and everything, but I think that a lot of people like it for it being a kind of this Disney version of Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like the kids version of Spider-Man is the only way I can think of it. It's like the parents like it, the young kids like it, people that aren't that familiar with Spider-Man like it and everything, and everybody really enjoyed it, and they like the cameos and things that happen in it. But I just felt rather, like you were saying, walking out of it just being like, I guess that's over. I guess it's over.
Well, here's the thing.
None of it mattered? Is that,
yeah. It's like Raiders of the Lost Ark. If he wasn't there, you know what I mean?
Right.
Nothing would have happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? All the same things would have happened. Or not even at all. It's like one little mistake in the movie where you're watching it, you're going, I wouldn't have done that.
Right.
It's like, why did he do that? Why? Because, like you said, I get it. The Tom Holland Spider-Man, like in the first one, him being a kid and being scared and sorry and being all apologetic. Okay, I understand that.
Sure.
Right? By the second one, dude's been to space.
Right.
Right. He's fought aliens or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like
he's got the Stark spider suit and everything. Like
you could pick up the not the cockiness, but the don't mistake cockiness for, what do you call it? What's that saying?
Bravado or something?
No, what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Not cocky, not being confident. There
Confidence,
it is.
yeah.
He should be a little more confident. He should be more like, oh, I could do this and this and this, and this is great, and I could do this. But he's not. He's still like, oh, sorry. He's swinging through the neighborhood, like, sorry, didn't mean to
Oops.
swipe your hat.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna be late.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. Oh, is this the wrong thing? I mean, yeah, and it's just like, it's not Spider-Man. It's just not Spider-Man.
It's understandable in the first movie, maybe part of the second one, but after, like, this is the third, fourth, fifth, sixth movie that he's been in, right? Because he was in Captain America, Civil War, he's in the Avengers Endgame and Infinity War or whatever. It's like, this guy should be more.
Right. And again, it's not Tom Holland's fault. This is the lines he's given. He's just an actor. Right. So don't hate that dude. He's fine. He's probably a good actor. He's good at being an earnest kid. But it's the script is just ugh. It's not what I want out of it. So listen, I appreciate people that did enjoy it. I'm not saying I hated it. I didn't hate it. There's just I didn't think it was at the level that a lot of people were thinking it was at, is really what it is. I didn't feel like it was a real Spider-Man movie. It's just something else.
It was like Iron Man 3.
Yeah, or even Iron Man 2.
I like 2.
Really?
Whatever. Yeah, I thought Justin Hammer made it.
Oh, okay.
I think he made it just a little bit better. Plus, I like Whiplash. I've always been a comic book Whiplash fan.
I just feel like 2 Did 2 really advance any of like the Infinity Story or anything? Like it just was like a standalone.
No, it was just an Iron Man movie. Where,
right. Like okay, but I would say it was probably it was better than
it's-
this. Right.
It was the same as the first one with just different people.
It's not as bad as Thor: Dark Fate. It's just It's just a family movie. I mean, this is like a family picture. Like I could totally see having like 5, 6, 7-year-old kids and be like, "Yay, Spider-Man!" And I'd be like, "Yeah, you guys watch this. It's fine." You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Like, go ahead and put this on. Don't put on Daredevil on Netflix though. Don't put that on. Don't put Jessica Jones on. But go ahead. Yeah, watch the Spider-Man. Speaking of which, real quick,
doesn't advance anything.
As I'm so far fucking behind on the Daredevil, as everybody's already watched all this shit, but I did watch the episode where he fights Bullseye when Bullseye's dressed up like Daredevil and they're like fighting in the office, you know?
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
Isn't it?
It's just, that's like, that episode is like 100 times better than the Spider-Man movie that I just watched.
It's like, it's like Matt Murdock's hiding behind the desk. He's like, "Oh, I got to figure out what." And the dude just ricochets something at him. He's just like, "Ding, ding, ding, ding,"
and it looks so real, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it looks like because it's really him. It's not. You're looking right at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not a stunt guy getting hit or anything. You know what I mean? I know it's all done with like probably computers and stuff like that, but it's so well done. It's so great. It's so great. Man, I hope they bring that show back. I mean, I really do.
You sound like Jimmy Fallon. It's so great.
Yeah. But as we heard recently, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, plus the Defenders, and the Punisher, are being picked up by Disney at the bottom of this month, March 1st. And Disney is supposed to immediately announce where the new home is going to be. And this is something we were talking about on previous shows about adult content, right? Where's the adult Marvel going to go?
Right.
Can't go on Disney Plus. It could go on Hulu, or Disney Plus has to introduce an adult section or whatever you want to call it, a mature viewer section or something. For PG-13 and up or whatever you want to do with it. But because they already have Deadpool, I believe, is on Hulu, I think. And so, and they own Hulu, so they could put it all on Hulu. But that is going to kind of miff some people because they're going to feel like there's 2 different services here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I got half the Marvel over here and the other half of the Marvel over there. And then like the other thing is like, there hasn't been any word on this, but what I really want to know is other than I'd like to finish watching the episodes I'm watching. So that's cool. Just tell me where to go watch them. But are you going to do more? Like, I want to hear somebody say, and we're going to make new episodes of some of these shows or something, or all the shows. I doubt it. But some of the shows, the ones that we care about, Daredevil and maybe Jessica Jones, great. You know what I mean? Honestly, I don't know. Like the Luke Cage and the Iron Fist, if they're cheap shows, you know what I mean? They might bring those back too and then improve upon them. Who knows? You know what I mean? But definitely think that if and the Punisher could come back too. So I think those 3 shows have the best chance of coming back. Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and the Punisher. Luke Cage and Iron Fist, probably not. But it's not to say that I don't know. I don't know what those 2 actors are doing. I don't think that Danny Rand guy's doing anything.
Yeah, I doubt it.
And so, they could certainly bring them back up. I don't think Kristen Ritter from Jessica Jones is doing anything. We do know that Charlie Cox is under contract, especially after watching the new Spider-Man movie. Shh.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I don't know. I don't even remember the guy's name that plays Luke Cage. I don't like the guy's an actor, but
Michael Coulter.
But I think that that universe they created with the nightclub and all that kind of thing in Harlem, I thought that was great. Yeah. And I think that they could bring that back and they could just improve on it. Put that guy through some acting lessons or something. Whatever. I watched that show. You don't have Amazon Prime, do you?
No.
They have Tom Cruise did that movie Jack Reacher. It was like he was like Kind of just like this tough guy drove like a car and
Yeah,
beat
I
people
remember
up.
the name. Remember
Yeah,
hearing the name.
it was a throwaway kind of movie. Well, I think it's a Tom Clancy thing, but Amazon was pushing it pretty hard. They started a new series called Reacher, right? Based on the same thing. It's Jack Reacher shows up in a small town. And listen, I watched the whole thing because it wasn't that long, and it's kind of a harmless show. I would kind of put it on in the background while I'm like folding laundry and shit.
Yeah.
And this guy's like a 6'5", looks like he used to be a football player or something. Like he's just all muscle, you know what I mean? But there is this formula that these shows keep doing that irritates me, and it's like wacky guy or mysterious guy or whatever type of guy who's not a cop teams up with a cop and they go and do investigations. You know what I mean?
The buddy cop movie.
I mean, but the buddy cops, they're both cops. Like here, it's always like one guy's not a cop. Like, Castle was like that. He was like a writer, right? Lucifer is like that. He's like the devil, whatever. There's a bunch of these shows, that one where the girl was all dressed up and like, she had all that tattoos on her and stuff, and they're like, oh, she's mysterious, again,
Memento.
she's nobody, but the guy that's working with her is a cop, so like constant formula, because the one character can do the things the cops can't do. You know what I mean? They can break into places and rough people up and do all that kind of thing. And nobody knows who they are. And then the cop can do all the cop things. And
there's I think there's a cop show out now or something like that where the person doesn't have a license. So they have a specific cab driver that drives them around to do investigations. Maybe I'm dreaming this. I don't remember, but it sounds like something. I'm pretty sure they might have canceled it already. But when they did the new fall preview, they're like, he's a cop that can't drive because of whatever. So his buddy, the cab driver, comes and picks him up and takes him around to all the crime scenes.
Oh my God! But that sounds like the same stupid formula.
But it's the same thing.
Yeah.
The cab driver's like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing," and I don't. It's just, come on.
Exactly. And then they have all these wise tips and wisdom. So this is the same sort of thing. Like luckily though, unlike a lot of the network shows, this was one mystery. Like they were trying to investigate one thing. Unlike a lot of these other things where it's like, oh, you have all these other things. Well, right now I have to go to this other murder case, so you can just come along. You know what I mean? Get the fuck out of here. This is so ridiculous. That's never going to happen. Who are you and why are you here? And she's with me and blah, blah, blah. If you got a problem with the tongue, get the fuck out of here.
Did you ever watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Great show.
Isn't that a great show?
It is. It's a great show.
That's Doug Judy and Jake Peralta. Doug Judy, the Pontiac Bandit?
I don't remember that.
Craig Robertson, the black guy doing all the Pizza Hut commercials.
Yeah, okay.
He plays the guy. He plays the Pontiac Bandit. And then him and Jake become friends. And then every time he shows up, he's like, I'm going to be a cop. And they're all like, no, you're not going to be a cop. You can't do this stuff. So it's kind of like what we're saying.
Same thing, yeah.
He's like, give me a gun and a badge, and they're like, you don't get a gun or a badge.
Right.
You don't do anything.
Right.
You sit here.
But then they know stuff. Yeah.
But
no.
yeah,
And so Reacher, he would be on the phone and the cops are always stupid. You know what I mean? These guys are about to break in. It's like, okay, well, go into the closet and take the bar down that holds up the hangers, and then I think that type of motel has really thin walls, so start breaking the wall down so you can run into the other apartment and stuff like that. And you're just like, get the what? Come on, who's buying this? And that guy's like, okay, yeah, I'll do what you say. Oh my God. So anyway, it's not a terrible show because it's just like all these other shows, though. That's why I don't care for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But it's if you like those other kinds of shows, you might like Reacher. I mean, people out there listening, you might think it's great. That's fine. I'm not hating on it or anything. I just think that this formula is stupid. I'm interested. That's the other thing they'll do too. Is there was this one mystery in this one small town. He meets these people and then they kind of end it. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, we solved the mystery. And he's like, I'm going to leave now and goodbye. And, and he's gone. And then like all of these shows, season 2 will start up, and then for some freaking reason, he'll still end up being in that town, and then there'll be another mystery, and those same actors will still be there. You know what I mean? Like they didn't want to hire all new actors, so they just, they come up with another reason for that person to be there. They do that a lot too, where like they get the bad guy, and then the bad guy becomes the good guy, and then they all work with the good guy. Oh, I hate that. I hate that so much. Like that guy killed like 10 people and shit. What are you doing?
He's the only way we could figure this out.
Right. We're going to make a deal with the devil, and if he gets out of line, something. But then they're all cracking jokes and eating sandwiches and shit later. It's so dumb. So, because we got about 15 minutes left, we got to talk about 2.
What? Oh no, not the book.
Boba Fett, man.
Oh my God. I'm going to spoil everything about this show. I don't care.
You might as well. It's you're just saving people from having to go through it at this point. Because go ahead, you talk first.
Listen, if that's all the muscle that the Pike Syndicate had,
it's like the same thing, man.
2 droids and a bunch of fish face dudes. Like that's it. Right?
And why do blasters kill those guys instantly? But like, apparently Wookiees can take like 100 shots.
Right. What's all the fur?
Nothing happens to them. They're just slower. No, you're right. And listen, it's fan service, right? Oh, how cool would it be to see, like, I could see guys smoking weed in a freaking, be like, how cool would it be to have Boba Fett riding around on a Rancor? You know what I mean?
Right.
And you're like, yeah, man, that's awesome. And it's like, no, it's stupid. Like, no, what are you doing? It's the dumbest fucking thing.
Right.
And then the thing that I said, I like last time on the show, I just want to say this too. Like 2 weeks ago on the show, I was saying like, there is no way Baby Yoda's going to pick that chainmail and just show up. Well, I was fucking wrong.
Right.
My logic was out the window.
No, I knew that. Because that was the first thing in my head when they ended that episode. He's like, you must choose one or the other. And they went to black screen, and I was just like, well, he's going to show up in the end, and he's going to do something to save the day, obviously, because, you know what I mean? Especially since they didn't go back to him at all.
It's
you know what
so
I mean?
ridiculous.
It was just like,
comes walking out in the middle of the fucking battle in the middle of the street.
Yeah, just like, hey, I'm just a little Yoda, don't mind me.
Throws his arm up. Like, you could just hit him with one blaster shot and kill him. You know what I mean?
Right. All them guys that are shooting are like, well, I'll try to shoot that thing because it's out in the open. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to try to shoot these dudes hiding behind the barge or whatever, but I'll go ahead. Now, granted, it was cool. I thought a cool scene was with the Wookiee, because they had them separate in different places and stuff, and then everybody turned, and then he did and then I thought it was kind of cool how he came walking around the corner, and he was just like throwing dudes off of him, and he's still like fighting, and he's just still like shooting people and stuff. I was like, okay, that's cool, but like you said, then he's walking back to him, it's just like, pew! Oh, and he keeps walking. I'm like, wait a minute. Pachoo!
Not quite dead yet.
Right. It's like, what the hell kind of Bigfoot is this?
I mean, if they were that tough, they could have just let Chewie in on the Death Star. He could have just taken out all the stormtroopers. They couldn't have shot him half the time anyway. In the original film. I came to an epiphany. I came to a realization while watching this episode. Is that Dave Filoni, was the supervising director of Clone Wars. And so what The Mandalorian is and what House of Boba Fett is live action Clone Wars. Meaning it's a cartoon that they now have as live action. It's running on the same narration type, system.
They're taken from the cartoons that have already been done.
Right. And they're not like taking the same things, right? But the history of Clone Wars is there, right? We know because of the Clint Eastwood guy talking to Boba Fett, they've got some history that you would have to watch Clone Wars to know about. A lot of this stuff, the droids and things are from Clone Wars. Rosario Dawson's character is from Clone Wars. It's all from the Clone Wars series. And so all this is Clone Wars. And so now I realize that the reason it's so screwed up is just because it's a cartoon that they've turned into a live action show. It's not it's not the normal Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and yes, where they screwed up is the fact that they took these 3 great films that were started in the late 70s, right, to the mid 80s.
Yeah.
Here's 3 great films. They're like wow, people really took to this stuff, right? Everybody loves Star Wars. Big Star Wars. And they said, this is the story. This is the 3 episodes here. And then they decided, well, let's go backwards and do the pre stuff. And then they put so much different stuff in the first 3, but then they said, okay, we'll make this last 3. Okay, well, we'll use the stuff from the first 3. So it's like them droids that had the force fields and stuff that were in the first 3 movies, like quote unquote, the first 3 movies, Phantom Menace and stuff. Where did they go for Star Wars Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi? Because they're back again. You know what I mean? It's like they're causing, and it's not anybody's fault. I mean, it is somebody's fault because somebody should have been like, hey, how come, you know what I mean? Obi-Wan's having problems with these things when he's younger. Now that he's older, they're not around. Why don't you still have those?
I just think Disney doesn't know what to do with it, right? The movies haven't been as successful as the new movies haven't been as successful as their Marvel properties, right? And especially like when you had some of the spin-off stuff, like I think they didn't end up even doing the Lando movie, right? They did Solo or one of those, right? And then they were also going to, they're making it into a TV series now, but they were going to make a standalone movie for, Obi-Wan, right? But they scrubbed that too. Now it's going to be serious. Yeah. But it was going to be a movie. But the sales weren't that great for Solo. And so they were like, yeah, this isn't going so well. And I think really Disney has kind of handed over the reins to Favreau and Filoni and saying like, you guys, are having fun with it. You guys go ahead and do some stuff with Star Wars. And that's kind of where it's going to sit now. It's going to be whatever the Clone Wars stuff kind of is. And look, I realize too, like it can't suddenly become rated R. Okay. It was never a rated R thing, but I think that it was really inventive at one time. Like, the original Star Wars was amazingly inventive, and it continued that into Empire. I don't think Jedi was that inventive. I think Jedi was mostly just a copy of the first film. I think Lucas started to get bored. He ran out of material. But like the Star Wars universe, like it's just, it's always kind of been struggling to have like a normal identity in a way, because these Jedi, you never really kind of understand what the Jedi even can do and not do. You know what I mean? Like they have force lightning, and then like, they can jump really high and they can move some things around and fight with lightsabers. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand the Force really at all. Here's another thing I had to bring this up to.
Here we go.
Luke Skywalker. Like, we all like Luke, okay? He shows up at the end of The Mandalorian, does his thing. Spoiler alert. Appears in Book of Boba Fett, right? Everyone's treating him like he's this master, teaching Grogu, whatever. Listen, Luke Skywalker didn't finish his training. He didn't finish his training. Yeah. He went to fight his father, and the Emperor kicked his ass. And the only reason he didn't die is because the old man picked up the Emperor and threw him down an air shaft. You know what I mean? Luke's not a master of anything. He's not good. He didn't win in Empire. He didn't win in Return of the Jedi. You know what I mean? He is not a Jedi master. Nobody ever said to him, and now you are a Jedi master, right? Did I miss that? Did that happen in Jedi when the ghosts appeared and shit? No.
He saw the ghosts on whatever the Ewok planet, Endor, and then just cried disappeared.
Right? Yeah.
As far as I know.
But somehow, I guess everyone has sort of decided that after that point, he is the ultimate Jedi. Oh, he's not. He's not. You know?
He's the only Jedi.
Well, yes, I guess that's true. But I mean, you know what I'm saying. Like
I know.
He never mastered anything. He didn't get through
he
the
never
whole
finished.
Right, he didn't finish it. You know,
he probably still can't hit the lasers out of that little ball thing with the mask on. He's probably still like, ow,
struggling. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I don't know, man. So it's like I you know, like Rosario Dawson's character could probably whip Luke Skywalker's ass. You know, she has a lot more. Yeah. She has a lot more training and stuff.
She's treating him real nice. So now here's a Boba Fett thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the main character.
Well,
alleged main character.
The guy that holds his helmet all the time. Yeah.
Oh my God! Coins in it. He's always talking so slow. Why do we have to go into the desert? Anyways, they made the show, this Book of Boba Fett, and at the end of it, I said to myself, why did they take away my Boba Fett? Right?
Yeah.
And just replace him with the Mandalorian, because that's all they did. They made the Mandalorian Boba Fett.
Yeah. And
they just took everything away from Boba Fett. It's just like, well, why would I care about this guy anymore? I don't.
There's virtually no difference. Except one wears his helmet almost all the time.
Well, I mean, and it's not even the Mandalorian. That's cool. Thanks to him, I still have somebody who's like a Mandalorian who's like badass.
Yeah,
just
okay.
Like, oh my God, he never takes his helmet off. You know, he's cool as hell, and he's always fighting people. But now Boba Fett's just like, I'm going to sit here and eat frogs or whatever.
Right,
and it's just
he's not a good guy. Like the Boba Fett shouldn't be a good guy. We talked about this. He shouldn't be a fucking good guy. I mean, he shouldn't be a bad guy, but he should just be whoever pays him.
I don't want to be a bounty hunter anymore. Well, guess what? I want you to be a bounty hunter.
Right.
That's what the whole series should have been about, is him running around trying to collect bounties. It's like, come on. That's what made The Mandalorian good. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, he shows up, he's like, I'm here to collect. And, you know, it's like, and that series went off. Here, he's just like, it's time for me to retire. Let me tell you the story of the Sand People. And you're like, I don't care. I didn't know you hung out with them, and I don't care that you hung out with them.
Listen, at the end of The Mandalorian, I was thinking, wow, that ended really good. And I look forward to the House of Boba Fett because it looks like this is going to, they got a plan. After getting done with the House of Boba Fett, I am not excited about anything that's going to happen. For instance, what's his face? The Mandalorian, he used to have the, that one ship that he could collect bounties with, right? He has all those guys frozen in whatever, and he can deliver them to whoever Razor Crest. He can deliver them with his Razor Crest. Now they gave him like some sports car, right? That can fit him and Baby Yoda. You know, Baby Yoda has his own little viewing capsule in there, which is totally ridiculous. And but what? So what is he going to do now? He can't fit a bounty in there. He can't take anybody with him, right?
Going back to my one theory there, you mean he's flying a ship around now after Return of the Jedi that wasn't around except for in the first Phantom Menace movie? Right. And like never was seen again. Like nobody's ever seen those in any other movies.
Exactly.
And now it's back again. Like, yeah, it's just, it's like, well, I guess that's the bounty hunter version of an X-Wing.
They could have used one of those. Jedi or Empire, those white ships with the big wings, those 3 wings. You know what I mean?
The Imperial Command ship.
Yeah, they could have used something like that or something, and they could put like emblems on it if they wanted to. But
it's not maneuverable enough.
Yeah, I know. But the point is, neither is the Razor Crest really. I mean, you know. But at least it was like, at least that was like, okay, he's a bounty hunter. He's got to have some room. You know, he's got to drive a van. Basically, he's got to drive a van to put the guys in. And now they took that away from him. So what is he going to do? He no longer has to take Yoda anywhere. That was his whole mission, basically. Right. I got to take him somewhere. And then, I miss him. Oh, look, there he is. All right, now we're friends and we can go on together. You know, what? What are you doing? And so I don't even know. Like, I'm not excited about the next season. I'm not. I will watch it. I will. But I'm just saying, like, what is he going to... He's going to go to Mandalorian world or something, whatever, Mandor, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah.
And hang out with Starbuck again. And or I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like Mando. He could just show up and be like, "Get him, kid." You could just set Grogu on everybody. You just be like, "Well,
and
protect me. Put a bubble around me."
So I think the next thing's going to be the Obi-Wan series, right? For Star Wars. And if you watch Clone Wars, like, Obi-Wan is mostly just annoying because he's just like, he's trying to teach Anakin things all the time. He's like, Anakin, you should definitely, work harder to do this, and you're not doing that right, etc. You know what I mean? And apparently Hayden Christensen's going to show up at some point too. So it's kind of like, if it's the same Filoni and Favreau, and they're going to bring that Obi-Wan to the show, it's not going to be good, man. I mean, it's just, I'm not going to enjoy it.
How you can't do that? Because when is this? If this takes place before the events of Revenge of the Sith or whatever the third one was called, is that what it was? Then he was a kid.
Well, if it takes place during Clone Wars, if it's happening during, because that goes on a long time, right?
In between the second and third one,
right? And they could do all the adventuring that they did during Clone Wars,
right? But Hayden Christensen's older than he was. He was a kid when he made those movies.
Doesn't seem to stop them with Luke Skywalker. But maybe it's after the fact. Maybe he's now Darth Vader, and this is what happened to Obi-Wan between when that happened and when he becomes the old man on Tatooine.
And you know what? Then what's going to happen is Disney's going to ruin Darth Vader for you. Because he's going to show up and he's going to be like, oh my God, it's Darth Vader. And he's in this Obi-Wan series. He's going to take his helmet off and be like, what's up, Obi-Wan? Been a long time. And you're just going to be like, oh, man.
See, I know. I know. Listen, Darth Vader, he can get away with being like a Jedi Master because, like, he supposedly just has really powerful control over the Force. You know what I mean? So he should be a badass. And so if they gimp him in any way, I don't know. I think I might blow out. I think that's when you guys are going to hear from Donnie that I'm dead. Because I don't think I can handle if they fuck up Vader at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, it's really just a comic book. Disney owns this. It's a comic book version of it. You know what? Big picture, and then we'll wrap this up because we're a little over. Big picture idea here is we have Disney saying, hey, we're going to put these Marvel shows into this sort of adult area, either on Hulu or maybe, but I doubt it, on Disney, right? And maybe that's a success for them. Maybe they release new episodes. That's a big ratings thing for them. They get a lot of, let's do some more like that. And then somebody over there goes, hey, why don't we do some more like adults type stuff for Star Wars? And let's put that over there too. And I would be like, yay! Right? Like, let's get the guys who like came up with Daredevil and wrote the scripts and did the direction and all that kind of stuff for Daredevil to do like a bounty hunter thing for Star Wars. I don't know if they'd go for it because Star Wars has always been like a family type of thing, even though it really isn't. Sarlacc pits and cutting guys' arms off and, Han shot first and everything else, like,
taking a kid into a bar.
Right. Lava burns up Vader. You know what I mean? He's got that meaty head, brains and things. They blow up a whole fucking planet in the first movie and kill millions of people. Look, there could be an adult one. There could be some adult Star Wars because I think that the Disney stuff is just, again, we're never going to get what we want as adults. We're always going to be stuck with the safest options, and it's just going to be a lot more fan service. And we'll have Darth Vader. He'll fight with 2 lightsabers or something. They'll just do things to make him look cool. He'll have a cool looking TIE fighter or something. Like, bigger guns on it.
But in the middle of it, we'll have him emotionally break down because he feels left out.
He'll miss his Padme or whatever her name is, and cry over his dead girlfriend. Oh my God! All right. Anyway, folks, you've heard us complain a lot about this. I know we've done week after week of talking about Star Wars or Marvel, but Star Wars is over, and there's nothing new for Marvel for a while at this rate. So,
and just be glad I didn't say everything I wanted to say.
So we'll talk a little bit, but happy birthday to Don. He's are you 49?
Yeah.
Last year you're 40.
Yeah,
it's going quick.
Yeah.
It's going quick.
Well, it's weird because like my brother's like going to be 61.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, 49 is not that bad.
It's I don't know. You're not really old until you're like at 65, I think, because like as long as people think you can go to work, and there's a lot of people that do like physical labor jobs and do hard shit at 65. Some people do it until they're 70. I don't personally think a person is technically old. They're middle-aged is really what it is, right?
Yeah.
You're middle-aged, and then like when you get to around 70, then you're like elderly. So that's how I look at it. But
I'm at buying a sports car age right now.
there you go. Yeah. That's it. Midlife crisis type of age. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you next week.
Peace.